Wow, so here it is. Red Dead Redemption has finally made its way over to PC after 14 years since its initial release back in May of 2010. So if you end up liking this video, please drop a comment and subscribe because I'll be making more videos like this in the future. So let's go over whether it's worth the $50 price tag and if it's really worth playing at all here in 2024. So it's on sale now for $50, which definitely isn't cheap and has obviously caused some backlash, but I would personally argue that it's worth the price. I'm so pumped that this game has been brought to PC, so a whole new generation of players get to experience it. The soundtrack really makes you feel like you're in the Wild West since it's a classic spaghetti western and has really interesting characters like Dr. Wes Dickens that fits the time period since he's a quote-unquote medical doctor who is actually a stereotypical snake salesman. On top of this all, you also get Undead Nightmare, which is an amazing experience that gives you a whole new story and all new side quests, but on the same map. And personally, it's my favorite DLC ever, right next to Blood and Wine from The Witcher 3 and Far Harbor from Fallout 4. This isn't a complete remake or a remaster, as it's simply a port over to PC, but I don't even think it's a big deal since the game still holds up so well and it could easily rival many games that come out now. So moving on to the story and side quests. This game takes place in 1911 and you are John Marston, an outlaw who is really trying to right his wrongs by having a family with his wife, Abigail, and his son John, and he also lives with his non-related uncle known as Uncle. As he tries to get his life back in order from a life of crime, he strikes a deal with the government to hunt down his old gang members, Bill, Dutch, and Javier Escuela, who you might recognize from the second game. So Dr. Wes Dickens is one of the most memorable characters in the game, considering he is, like I said, a snake oil salesman, and he feels like a perfect character to be put in this game since there were these type of grifters back then, and the characters just feel real, and all of the side characters feel like they have a real purpose in the game. Red Dead Story DLC Undead Nightmare also has an amazing story as well. It takes you across the same map, but this time you're having to deal with hordes of zombies, and they have overtaken the entire Wild West and all of Mexico. Even the major characters that you wouldn't expect to be turned into zombies were actually turned into them, so there's plenty of surprises in the story. And its release was just perfect timing with Halloween being right around the corner. So not only were the main quests amazing in this game, but the side quests are also that great as well, with one of my favorites being Red Dead's version of the Wright brothers, who of course made the first airplanes. But then there's the Strangers missions and bounties, and they really add a lot of unique side quests and some mysterious characters. So getting over to exploration, this map takes you across Rockstar's version of Texas and Mexico, with half of the game being set in New Austin and West Elizabeth, then roughly halfway through the game it'll take you down to Mexico. So thankfully both locations are as good as the other and are truly amazing, from the characters you meet, to the geography, and to the wildlife you'll encounter. And you'll have everything from flat plains of West Elizabeth to the high arches of Mexico, and it just really feels like a truly real world that you would actually live in. And it's no secret that Rockstar is among some of the best, if not the very best, in making these open worlds. And while Red Dead 2 has so many different biomes that, goes from swamps to high peaks and mountains, Red Dead 1 has a lot more traditional western areas to explore, like the deserts and the red rocks of Mexico. So the biggest separation from the first and second game, aside from gameplay, would definitely be the actual locations that the game's set in. So maybe in the third game, they'll come back to the desert western setting. That's what I would prefer. Let me know what you guys would want in the comments. So don't let the age of this game put you off because it's almost 15 years old. It's not so outdated that you can't play it, and it honestly plays like a normal third-person game that would come out today. On top of it all, the AI is also great since they don't feel dumb, and they actually put up a pretty good fight. You never really hear about complaints about the gameplay, considering it was always really good for this game. And when aiming down the sights, it always felt snappy enough to where you could actually lock on to enemies and be able to take them out. So Rockstar's combat was always one of their strong suits. The variety of guns is amazing because you have everything from repeaters to bolt actions to shotguns, and everything feels powerful in the right situation. So Red Dead 1 is actually a lot different from Red Dead 2 as well, because it just plays a lot faster with the movement, and also it's not focused on the sim aspect where you have to constantly eat and drink. So depending on what you like, you may like the movement and gameplay more in the first game than the second, but again, let me know what you guys think in the comments, which one you like more. You do have a horse with you at all times, and you can buy new ones or tame different horses as well, but besides that, all you have are carriages, and that's about it for options on transportation. Of course, this is an old school Western game, so there's no vehicles that you can drive, but you do come across them every now and then when you're in Blackwater, but you're unable to actually drive the vehicles. And in somewhat similar fashion to Fallout, you also have an option to go into a slow motion mode, which is called Deadeye. With the Deadeye feature, it just makes you feel like a real cowboy, considering you can go into a duel and it's all in slow motion. It's like everything I wanted as a kid. You can walk into the saloon and get so hammered that you just kind of stumble around and fall on the ground. You can go hunting for wildlife. You can have duels with NPCs in the streets. It just truly feels like there's nothing that can replicate it, and it's a classic spaghetti western like you typically see in movies, but this time it's made its way to a video game. So like I mentioned with hunting, it allows you to get the pelt, which you can actually craft into clothing or sell, and just like in Red Dead 2, you're able to find legendary animals that can only be found in certain locations, and they also only spawn into the world one time, so once you take them out, they're out. Just like other Rockstar titles, the ragdoll physics are hilarious and impressive because if you shoot somebody in the hand, they'll naturally go to grab it, or if you shoot them in the leg, then they'll fall on that leg that was shot. So just because this game is almost 15 years old, don't let that discourage you into thinking it's not an advanced or beautiful game, because trust me, it is. The landscapes and the sceneries themselves are beautiful, but it's also the color grading and the textures that still hold up to this day. But sadly, there is no online mode that comes to the PC with this release. And it's honestly a massive tragedy considering I always played a ton of it as a kid and I always thought it was amazing. I really think Rockstar cheaped out on this one considering they're going to make a ton of money with this anyway, and as if they don't generate billions of dollars with shark cards, I think it's beyond lame that they're not turning the servers on for PC players. So in summary, I think Red Dead Redemption has waited too long to be ported to PC, and now it's on an entirely new generation of players that get to explore it and just enjoy this game for the first time. And thankfully they have an entire backstory to go off of, since Red Dead 2 was a prequel to this game. So if you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing and let me know what you want to see next. Baller out. I will see you guys next time. Peace.